Episode 314. You win. Where is Henry? Serena looked a bit worriedly, looking at Jake. Are these flowers all from you?
Did you think it was Henry?
Jake raised his eyebrows, dangerously narrowing his eyes, looking at her with displeasure and tightening his grip on her hand. Serena pursed her lips and said a bit worriedly, Today, I asked Henry to come to lunch, and now...
Let's go and have lunch then.
Jake did not wait for her to finish the sentence, took her waist and walked toward the mall. With him next to her, holding a large bouquet of flowers, Serena received a lot of envious looks from the onlookers. She had not had this feeling for a long time. Blushing slightly, she turned to the direction of Jake, covering her face. Jake saw this, and there was a hint of smile in his eyes.
What do you want to have?
I just booked a private room and ordered food. Here. Serena pointed to the Cantonese restaurant from which she came out. Jake went inside with his arm on her waist and back in the private room. Serena did not see Henry and felt a bit disappointed. But walking in, she found a note on the table. It was folded into a small square. She opened it and saw the familiar handwriting of Henry. You win. Serena, wish you happiness. Seeing these words, Serena felt even more bitter in her heart, her eyes wet. Jake took the note. He saw the powerful font on it and raised his eyebrows. Then he crushed it up into a ball and stuffed it into his pocket.
Shall we eat?
Serena gave him a stare and asked the waiter to start before she walked to the bathroom. Just when she washed her hands, she saw Jake also came in. Serena saw him and wiped her hands with a paper towel. When she was about to go out, he pulled her in. Jake closed the door and pinned her against it. Her heartbeat sped up as she looked at him, a bit scared. Unfamiliar and familiar at the same time. The sensation came back to her after a long while, making her a little dazed. Before she came back to reality, Jake's lips fell, sealing all her words. One big hand took her waist and the other was holding her face. He kissed her very hard. He was a bit rough in all the eagerness. Separating her lips and teeth, he invaded her like crazy. Too long. Too long. 4 years. It was torment for anyone. Jake's moves were rough and frenzied. Almost instinctively, his big hand around her waist went down, lifted her skirt, and slowly entered. Serena was shocked, and she reached out and pushed him gently. But Jake had been celibate for 4 years. At this moment, when he saw her, he had lost his reason. He thrusted forward, and Serena could clearly feel his fiery desire. So ferocious. So scary. Jake left her lips and moved down to her chin, her neck, her collarbone. No one had touched her like this in so long. Serena's body was extremely sensitive. Hugging him back unconsciously, she looked up, breathing heavily. Jake picked her up and put her on the washstand. Unzipping her and untying her belt, he moved down little by little. Serena gasped and grabbed his big hand that was almost down there, whispering, No, no. Jake broke free from her hand and held it. Their fingers intertwined. He sighed with a low gasping, like a beast at night, which made her clench her legs subconsciously. He said, I can't wait. I miss you so much. Me too. I really, really miss you. However, before she said it, she clearly felt Jake's big hand moving up, and the slightly rough hand came with sensations that made her tremble. She couldn't help letting out shameful moaning. However, reason still defeated the impulse. She lifted her foot and kicked him away, saying, No, there are more important things to do. Jake bitterly grabbed her hand and pulled it to the significant bulge and looked at her with grievances. Sweetheart, it's hurting. Serena saw him like this and suddenly chuckled. You look like your son so much now. Jake looked at her fiercely, gritting his teeth. It should be he that looks like me. Okay. Serena pushed him away and warned, Go home after lunch. The children have not met you yet. Do you really have a heart? He looked at her with unspeakable resentment in his gorgeous eyes. He took her into his arms and pressed her body with his. Grinding lightly, Jake gently asked again, Do you really have the heart? She hadn't been with him for too long. The action felt a bit strange to Serena, making her a bit scared and unspeakably happy, but she felt more shy. She had never been thick-skinned. Turning away and blushing, she hid his hand and said, "You have said it yourself that if I'm not able to find you, when you come back, I can punish you however I want." Jake was reminded of what he had once said. Distressed, he hugged her and didn't want to let go, whispering, "Would you like to postpone the punishment to another time? What do you think?" She glanced at him and pushed him away. "I'm starving." That was the right way to deal with Jake. Jake indeed let go and sorted out her clothes. He sighed helplessly. "Okay, let's eat." After straightening her skirt, Serena went out first, and the waiter had basically finished serving. Seeing her red and swollen lips, the waiter acted as if he saw nothing and quietly left. After a few minutes, Jake came out from the bathroom, looked calm, and naturally sat on the side of Serena. The dishes Serena ordered were very simple. Barbecue ribs, fish-flavored eggplant, 3 cups of geese, fried cabbage, and 2 soups. Jake saw the dishes and barely accepted it. Fortunately, they were what Serena liked. When he thought that she was going to eat with Henry initially, he felt terrible. Serena didn't realize that he had that thought. Placing the rice in front of him, she gave him a piece of ribs. "You should eat more. You're too thin now, and your figure does not feel as good as before." Jake felt a stab in his heart.